All right, hey everyone, I'm Amelia Newcomb. Thank you for tuning in. Today we are talking about what to do when your horse freaks out and runs off or rears or bucks or you feel totally out of control. So comment below, let me know if you've had this experience. I think we all have had that experience where like 1 second everything's good and you're in control, and the next second your horse is like totally freaking out and you have absolutely no control. And it can be a really scary moment, and it's also really important to understand what you need to do at that moment to kind of take control of the situation and not end up getting hurt or having you or your horse have a really bad experience. So I'm going to give you guys a few tips of things that you can do when you feel like your horse freaks out and how to prevent this from happening. So the first thing that is most important if I'm riding around and my horse freaks out is I always put my hands down and lower my center of gravity. And this has taken a lot of years for me to kind of program into my mind. Like when I first started riding, I was the most horrible rider and I fell off all the time. I fell off so much that my riding instructor almost told my parents I should quit. But what putting your hands down does is, one, it helps lower your whole center of gravity. Two, it'll help get your horse back under control because it'll take a little bit of contact in such a way that gets the horse's head to go down. And if you can get your horse's head to go down, they will relax again. It's very like our human nature instinct is that when we get scared, we want to curl up into fetal position. So that's like just everyone does that naturally. And what fetal position does, it brings your hands up and your upper body forward. So when you're in this position, you're very vulnerable, because when I'm like this, if my horse spins left or right, I'm going to go over his shoulder. If my horse bucks, I'm going to go right over his head. If my horse rears up, he's going to hit me right in the mouth. So it's really important that when you first feel your horse tense up or like they're about to freak out, you get your hands down and you lower your center of gravity. So that's the most important thing. So then the second thing is that once your horse like kind of freaks out and they've peaked, like so they've run or they bucked or whatever, you need to control the situation. So that's the second thing. You have to control the situation. So it's important to consider that horses are flight animals. So they're gonna run, that's their instinct. And as a rider, you can't just tell them no. You can never tell a horse, no, don't do that, don't do this. You have to give them an alternative. So my alternative to that is a one-rein stop. So I'm gonna show you how to do a one-rein stop. So basically what a one-rein stop is that it's a way to turn your horse, bend your horse, and get control of your horse. So what you do in a one-rein stop is that you're going to shorten up on the inside rein. You're going to bring your hand to your belly button. And as you take your horse's head around, the head's going to go pretty much all the way to your foot. And what you want is that your horse turns on a circle and that they cross their hind legs. You see how the left hind leg is stepping over in front of the right hind. So I'll show you that to the right. So a one-rein stop, again, your horse, you're going to slide down the inside rein. You're going to bend your elbow. You're going to put a little inside leg on because you don't want your horse to just stop. What you do want is that the hindquarters are, this is called disengaging the hindquarters. So if you can get your horse to disengage the hindquarters like this, your horse is not going to be able to run off. They're not going to be able to buck. They're not going to be able to rear. So this is like really a safety position that you can use at that moment where you feel like your horse starts freaking out and getting completely out of control. So again, I'm bending, I'm putting a little inside leg on, and I'm getting my horse to turn. So it's really important though that you practice your one rein stop when you don't need it. So you can't wait for your horse to freak out and then try to bend them. You need to have the basic understanding of the bending, the yielding, and the one rein stop prior to when your horse freaks out and you need to use that. So a few of the common things the common mistakes that you'll run into in the one rein stop is lots of horses, they'll kind of give you their head, but the horses will just keep going in a straight line. So this horse, let me see if I can demonstrate on him. So here his head's bent, but you see how his legs are going that way? So that's not going to be useful because you need to get the horse to turn when you do a one rein stop. If they just bend their head and keep running off straight, you're not going to be able to take control of the situation, which is the whole point of a one rein stop. So the other common thing that happens is that when you go to do a one rein stop, the horse may just completely stop. And you don't want the horse to just bend their head and stop. You want them to actually keep moving and cross that hind leg over. Because when you get that hind leg to cross over, then you can actually control the horse's motion. So now my third tip is that the best solution for when your horse runs off or bucks or rears is that you have to catch it before it happens. Because once it happens, you're kind of just praying that it goes well. If you can prevent these situations from happening, you're much better off. So the best way to prevent this from happening is that you have to have your horse on your aids, which means your horse has to be focused on what you're doing. They have to be going forward. They have to be bendable. And so if I have a horse, like let's say that my horse is really hot and a little spooky today, what I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put him to work. So let's say he's feeling a little hot and spooky. I'm going to right away get my horse going forward and put him to work. Now, if he's feeling like he wants to run off or buck or bend, I'm going to put in some turns to my trot work. So I'm going to do like mini one rein stops. I'm going to bend him a little, push him off that inside leg, get him to turn, release. Now I'm going to go to the right. I'm going to bend him a little right, push him off my inside leg, and then release. And the second that I see my horse start to speed up or look outside the arena or get out of control, I'm going to turn a little. So my solution to preventing bucking, rearing, running off is keeping my horse busy, going forward, bending, and turning. Because if you can channel the horse's forward energy, it's really important that you let them go forward and then control. Like, see, he got a little spooked there. So I'm going to let him go forward, and then before he gets a little spooked, I'm going to bend and control it. And then again, I'm going to let him go forward, and then I'm going to bend him and control the situation. And then again, I'm going to let him go forward, and then I'm going to bend and control the situation. And again, I'm going to let him go forward, and then I'm going to bend and control the situation. So that's really important, is just, keep going back and forth where you let your horse go and then bend and control the situation. Because like I said, it's best if you can prevent those behaviors from happening, because once they happen, they become a habit and you risk falling off, getting hurt, scaring your horse. So I hope that this has helped you guys, and comment below, let me know what techniques you use when your horse wants to be naughty. Again, I think this is all our worst nightmares, is when your horse totally freaks out and you're completely out of control. But hopefully this gives you some good tips to help you out in these difficult situations. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and also sign up for my email list. The link is in the description, and I'll send you free weekly newsletters. Thanks for watching.